If you're anything like me, you'll love wearing motorcycle jeans when you're riding. They're lightweight, cool, comfortable, and maybe because some brands like to say they're as protective as a race suit, or even more so. Now it's time to find out. In this video, I'm going to reveal how 12 pairs of AAA rated bike jeans really compare to decent quality leather. We're also going to look at their value, comfort, and the armour they have so that you can find the best motorbike jeans for yourself. I'll also tell you what I choose to wear and why. A huge amount of time and budget has gone into this, using standardised testing at SATRA, one of the world's leading PPE labs. Everything we do here at Bennett's Bike Social is about helping you get more from motorcycling, and that includes making informed, not influenced choices. If you want to chat with me about this test, join me on our free digital community, bikeclub.bennetts.co.uk. Right, first let's see what armour you're getting with these jeans, how well they fit and what they cost. We bought every pair to ensure there could be no claims of shenanigans and ordered them in my size, 34-inch waist, 32-inch leg. Now it's important to say that I'm bordering on a 36 and in some cases I'd have returned them for a larger pair, but we needed to get them to the lab. In alphabetical order then, at $199.99 the Bullet Guardians are part-line jeans with 10% Covic liquid crystal polymer in the outer material and 40% in the part liner. And we'll cover the difference between part-line, fully lined and single layer jeans later in this video, but you can see the protective coverage here, here and here. These have some degree of stretch to them, but they were a little tight on me and the back seemed to sit a bit low, so if you're on the large end of a size, I'd go up. You can take the armour out the front, maybe for walking about off the bike. They have a zip fly, smooth rivets that are less likely to scratch your bike's tank than normal ones, and standard cotton pockets. The armour is ReZero, which is an environmentally friendly material in the higher level 2 for impact protection and the larger Type B template. It sits and stays well when you're standing and with your knees bent and can be set to 2 height positions at the knees. It's certified as T-, so has been tested down to -10 degrees C, but only at the knees, not the hips. So the Bullet's armour gets a rating of 6.5 out of 10. The armour is ventilated. There's no slip liner fitted, but I'll explain that and the armour ratings in a bit. These jeans weigh 1,212 grams with the armour fitted and a women's version is available. At £199.99 the Furygan K12 X Kevlar is a single layer jeans with Kevlar woven into all of the denim, so you get the same protection regardless of how you might slide. They're a tiny bit snug for me, but the legs are quite loose fitting. You might like that, but the armour can move about a bit, potentially exposing your knees to impact. The K12s have a button fly and smooth rivets. The pockets are standard cotton. The D30 Ghost armour is the lower level one and the smaller Type A, which is disappointing, but it can be adjusted to any position at the knees in its range thanks to a Velcro hanging strap, so it gets an overall rating of 5 out of 10. The armour is ventilated, so your knees and hips can stay that bit cooler. There's a slip liner fitted to reduce the chance of a nasty skin shear injury. These jeans weigh 1,243 grams with the armour fitted. A women's version is available. At £199.99 the Hood SK11s are denim jeans fully lined with aramid fibre. Kevlar is just DuPont's name for an aramid fibre, and have a snug but stretchy fit that feels really comfortable while keeping the armour securely in place. A fully lined pair of jeans is going to be warmer than an unlined pair, but they are breathable, obviously, and I've worn these in Spain and the US with no issues. These use a woven aramid fibre, which is less dense than some others. The SK11s have a zip fly and smooth rivets. The pockets are made of denim, meaning they'll wear much better than standard cotton when you're shoving your keys in. We bought the optional level 2 D30 Ghost armour, which is sadly the smaller Type A, though the snug fit keeps it in the right place and you can adjust it to any position at the knees thanks to a Velcro strip with position markings, giving it a rating of 7 out of 10. The armour is ventilated. A slip liner is fitted to protect against skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,725 grams with the armour fitted. There's no women's version available. At £235 the Doe Pioneers are single layer jeans that feel lovely and soft with a comfortable, stretchy, easy to wear fit. They felt great on with a decent height at the rear too. The Pioneers have a zip fly and smooth rivets. The pockets are standard cotton. The XTM armour is held in place well, but unfortunately it's just level 1 and Type A. It's certified to T+ and T- though, which means it's also been tested at 40 degrees C and -10, and has full adjustability at the knees thanks to a Velcro system with location markings, so it scores 7 out of 10. The armour stays in place well and is ventilated. There's no slip liner to protect against skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,238 grams with the armour fitted. There's no women's version available. At £289 the Pando Moto Karl Devil AAA Pluses are the most expensive yet, but not the most expensive on test. They're part-lined Cordura denim jeans, but don't be swayed by that name as there's no such rating as AAA Plus. The company claims to have tested them by running the Darmstadt machine at a faster than usual speed, but we'll find out if they really are better. You can see the coverage of the protective lining here, here and here. They have a good amount of stretch, feel fairly soft and have accordion panels for added movement, though this does make them look more bikey. The Karl Devils have a zip fly and standard rivets, which is surprising on motorcycle jeans. The pockets are standard cotton. The D30 Ghost armour is just level 1 and type A, but it is held in place well and can be adjusted between 2 positions at the knees. The low rating and small size means it gets just 3 out of 10, the lowest so far. The armour is ventilated. There's no slip liner to protect against skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,518 grams with the armour fitted. There's no women's version available. At £239, the PMJ Tex-Pro is a single layer jeans that are claimed to have been developed by Guildford-based shop Moto legends in collaboration with Italian brand PMJ. The label says that they're the safest jeans on earth, and apparently they were made to match the protection of leather trousers. We're going to test that. These have a small amount of stretch, but they come up very, very small. Granted, I'm overweight, but expect to go up at least 1 size if you buy them. The Tex Pros have a zip fly and no rivets, so they're as safe as can be on your paintwork. The pockets are standard cotton. The level 1 Impact Tech armour certainly isn't the safest on earth, but it is the larger Type B, and the knees can be adjusted within a range of 6 centimetres thanks to a Velcro strip, scoring it a 6 out of 10. It's not ventilated. There's no slip liner to protect against skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,012 grams with the armour fitted, the lightest yet, but not the lightest on test. There's no women's version available. The £179.99 Richa Ragnar is a single layer pair of jeans with a comfortable fit and a reasonable amount of stretch. The Ragnars have a zip fly and smooth rivets. The pockets are standard cotton. The D30 Ghost armour stays in place fairly well, but it is only level 1 and type A, with 2 positions for the knees giving it a score of 3 out of 10. The protectors are ventilated. A slip liner is fitted over all the areas most likely to be vulnerable to skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,256 grams with the armour fitted. There's no women's version available. The £199.99 Roadskin Paranoid X jeans are fully lined with a knitted aramid fibre, while the outer is the same construction as the brand's single-layer Taranis Elites. That should add up to a lot of protection. We'll find out soon. They feel very comfortable, have loads of stretch, and while the lining adds a bit of bulk, they're easy to wear and don't look much like bike jeans. Again, some will try to tell you that lined jeans are unwearable, but they probably have their own agenda. All I would say is that a knitted construction of the Paranoid X's aramid lining is a little warmer than a woven one. Certainly not unbearably so though, and these are nice and soft. The Roadskins have a zip fly with no rivets used. The pockets are standard cotton. The snug fit keeps the level 2 Type B armour in place well, which is made by Smoothways and is certified to T-. With 2 positions to choose from on the knees, overall it scores 7 out of 10. It's not ventilated, but there is the option to upgrade to Rayon armour, which has the same impact rating and Type B size, but is highly breathable. We didn't buy that for this test, but it is worth considering. While there's no mesh slip liner, the separate aramid lining covering all of the inside should act in the same way to reduce the chances of skin shear. These jeans weigh 1,717 grams, which is about the same as the lined hoods. There's no women's version available. At £179.99, the Roadskin Taranis Elites are single layer jeans, basically the Paranoid X's but without the aramid lining. They have loads of stretch, fit great and are incredibly easy to wear. Like the Paranoid X's, they sit securely above the hips and keep the armour in place well. I reckon they look really good too. The Taranis Elites have a zip fly and no rivets. The pockets are standard cotton. Again, the armour is Smoothways level 2 Type B, certified as T-, with 2 positions in the knees for an overall score of 7 out of 10. It's not ventilated, but you also have the option of Rayon armour here, which very much it is. There's a lightweight mesh slip liner fitted. These jeans weigh 1,393 grams with the armour. There also is a women's version available. At £399, the Rokkertech straight AAAs are the most expensive in this test by a long way. Confusingly, there are also AA-rated Rokkertech straights, but these are the ones that are claimed to be certified to the same safety standards as MotoGP riders. That's rather disingenuous, but we'll see what the lab results say. These are single layer jeans that look very well made. They have some stretch, but are a little stiffer compared to some others, and I'd consider going up a size depending on your build. I really like the look of these, but would say that the waist sits a little lower at the back than some. The Rokkertechs have a button fly and no rivets are used in the construction. The pockets are standard cotton. Despite the label and website saying they come with SATRA armour, the pair we bought have D30 Ghost that stays in place well, but is only level 1 Type A. There's no adjustment in the knee position of the armour, so overall these score just 2 out of 10, the lowest in the test. The armour seemed biased to the insides of my knees slightly, but it's not bad. If you need to adjust it, you'll have to have the pockets removed and re-sewn. The armour is well ventilated. There's no slip liner fitted to reduce the chance of a painful skin shear injury. These jeans weigh 1,263 grams with the armour. There's no women's version available. The £189.99 RST Tech Pros are Cordura jeans part lined with a knitted aramid. The part lining extends down the thighs to some extent, as you can see here, here and here. These do look like bike kit with the accordion stretch panels, but they're very comfortable and fit well, with a good height at the rear. The knee armour is also rather firm, especially in the cold, and adds some unwanted bulk that doesn't feel as good to wear as some others. On my ZX6R, it tends to pull against my knees a little bit. The Tech Pros have a zip fly and smooth rivets. The pockets are standard cotton. The Powertector armour does give good coverage and stays in place well, and it's level 2 Type B with 3 positions at the knees, though the hip armour is a smaller Type A, so it scores 6.5 out of 10. A slip liner is fitted to reduce the chance of skin shear injury. These jeans weigh 1,641 grams with the armour, which is less than the fully lined ones, but without the same coverage. I'd say it's a touch heavier in those zones. There's no women's version available. Finally, the £199.99 Weise Citadel jeans are a single layer design that's a comfortable fit. The armour twists a little, which is something to check for yourself on any jeans, and rucks up a touch where it's fixed at the top. They have some nice details for the price, come with a zip fly and don't use rivets at all. The pockets are standard cotton. The ReZero armour is only level 1 and Type A, but it's certified as T+ and T-. With the 3 positions at the knees, it earns 7 out of 10. It's very well ventilated, but it sits a little flat, which can spoil the look of the jeans when walking around. There's no slip liner fitted. These are the lightest jeans tested at only 974 grams with the armour. There's no women's version available. Let's take a look at those armour scores. All motorcycle trousers must have knee armour, and any AA or above must have hip too. So as all the ones we've tested AAA, they come with both. The armour's tested separately under its own standard, with level 2 offering more impact protection than level 1. It's made to cover 2 size templates, Type A and the larger Type B. These are minimums, so some will be bigger than others, offering even better coverage. All motorcycle armour is tested at 23 degrees C, but if you see a T+ marking, that means it's also been tested to deliver the same minimum requirements of impact protection at 40 degrees C. If you see T-, it's been done at -10 degrees C. In this test, level 1 armour gets 1 point, level 2 gets 3. Type A gets 1 and Type B gets 2. T- and T+ get a point each. And range of knee adjustment is scored between 0 and 3. These figures don't take into account ventilation or the subjectiveness of comfort. It's true that armour can be another barrier to abrasion injuries, but only in the area it covers. And if it's behind a poor material, it could tear out and bounce down the road. That's why it's tested separately. It also doesn't cover your thighs or your bum. Oh, and hip armour is important not just to reduce potential injury there, but it also dampens the critical lateral impacts that can cause damage to your spine. Landing on your side can be worse than on your back, so hip armour is important. It's also true that there's a limit to what armour can protect you against, but it can significantly reduce injury. That can mean the difference between inconvenient and life-changing. If you'd like me to do more of a deep dive into armour, please do let me know in the comments, as it means a lot to hear from you. So should you buy fully lined, part lined or single layer jeans? Fully lined jeans have an additional protective layer under all of the outer material. Don't confuse that with a lightweight slip liner that's fitted to stop the outer grabbing against your skin in a lower speed slide, which can cause very painful skin shear injuries as the layers of tissue underneath the flesh get torn apart. Additional protective lining is usually made of Kevlar or another aramid fibre like it, and do add an additional layer of warmth and bulk, but genuinely aren't unwearable like some will try to tell you. Of course they're still breathable, and I've worn them in very hot climates happily, but you need to make your own choices. Part-line jeans are a compromise, as they only have to add an additional protective liner in the key impact areas. Fortunately, in AAA, the bum is considered a key impact area. It's not in AA or A, so you'll at least see it there at the hips and the knees in these jeans. Look for it on the thighs though too, as that's a likely place to slide. Single layer jeans have the protection built into the outer layer, so like line jeans, they can keep you safer all over. I'd still suggest getting ones that have a lightweight mesh slip liner. I wouldn't say any of the jeans in this test were bad, but some were more comfortable than others. They were all bought at the same size, but thanks to my love of cake maybe, some were too small. Anyway, here's how they compare for weight. Before we get into the results, I'd just like to ask that you give this video a like, maybe even a subscribe if you're finding it interesting, and let me know what you're thinking in the comments. We don't turn our video comments off because we want to talk with you, not at you. And we don't have an agenda, besides reminding you to get a quote from Bennett's when your bike insurance is next due. We've all seen the claims of jeans being as protective or even 50% more protective than the leather. I do just need to add in here that if we'd achieved this claim of 4.2 seconds in our industry standard testing, the leather would have lasted 60 seconds, and of course it didn't. So now we're going to find out. This is a single piece of leather used by BKS made to measure, not to be confused with the off-the-shelf BKS products that are nothing to do with it, and it's what we'll be comparing all these jeans to. Now, before you cry foul that BKS made to measure isn't representative of normal kit because it's famous for its very highly protective gear used by police forces around the country, this isn't special leather, and it's just one layer. Decent leather kit will often use 2 layers of leather in the key impact areas, and the Exeter-based company even uses other materials between those in some areas. I have to explain how we did this and why. The EN 17092 standard tests abrasion using a Darmstadt machine, which spins the samples up to a set speed, drops them a short distance onto a concrete slab, then lets them slow down naturally. If there's no hole bigger than 5mm, they pass. But that means you can't see how much better some gear is than others. We contracted global testing company SATRA to use the requirements of the EN 13595 abrasion test, which drops a sample onto a 60 grit belt running at set speed until the point of failure. The time that takes is a relative abrasion time, not a slide time. Be very wary of anyone who claims that. But know that it's been proven that the belt used in testing is very similar in abrasiveness to the surface stress rose used on the majority of the rural routes we enjoy as riders. Each product is tested using 6 samples. On fabric, that's 2 along the warp, 2 along the weft and 2 at 45 degrees, so between the warp and weft. On leather, it's at 60 degree intervals to account for variations in stretch and how the hide grew. If you want me to do a full explanation of the test or anything else, let me know and I'll post it on Bike Club. So let's see the results. Our leather sample is 100%, which lets us clearly see how motorcycle jeans compare. This is independent certified lab tested and only one pair, the RST Tech Pros, exceeded or even met the abrasion resistance of leather in this test. These part-line jeans performed 143% as well as our leather sample, but you have to keep in mind that they can't offer that protection everywhere. They do have a strip down the thighs, but you don't have coverage all over. An impressive result though, and they show what can be achieved. Also with a knitted aramid lining, but this time a full one that covers everything, is the Roadskin Paranoid X, coming in at 82% the performance of our leather. That's still impressive, and in this test these proved to be the best fully lined motorcycle jeans, so arguably the most protective. In third place is a pair of single layer jeans, the Rokkertech Straight AAAs, coming in at 48% of the performance of leather. This is a great result, and if you have the money they're well worth a look, but check the sizing as they come a bit small, and do make sure the knee armour sits in the right place. Personally, I'd also upgrade that to the level 2 armour. The fully lined hoods sit just below these Rokkers at 43%, though it's still a fairly good result in this test, and the woven aramid lining is a little less warm than the knitted one of the RST Tech Pros and the Roadskin Paranoid X's. It's worth mentioning that we tested the SK11s here. Based on previous testing, the hood K7s look to have been capable of achieving 59% in this test. The RSTs have incredible abrasion resistance in the part-lined areas, and if we look at abrasion performance versus weight, they stand head and shoulders above the rest, but that's skewed by the fact that the protection isn't everywhere. They're only 4% lighter than the Paranoid X's, which means they've achieved that performance in the protected zones with a slightly bulkier build than the Roadskins. Data from Motorcap suggests that wearing just normal fashion jeans could provide as little as 4% of the protected leather, so all of the motorcycle jeans here perform better. And abrasion alone doesn't tell the full picture. Besides tear resistance and seam strength, which need to be higher in AAA rated garments than AA or A, there's the armour. That's no good if it tears out and bounces down the road, but decent armour is important. So if we take the scores we gave the protectors and add them to a ranking score from 1 to 12, things change a bit. We're still seeing good results from the top performers in abrasion, but the Rokkers, for instance, would score 15 if they had level 2 armour, 16 if it was type B, and be in joint first place with 19 if they had full adjustability in the knees. And remember, these are single layer jeans. Use some armour that's T+ and T- rated too, and they'd be the easy overall winner with 21 points. Maybe we should ask the guys behind Rokker if they want to do a special Bennett's Bike Social version with upgraded armour, perhaps under their new partner brand, Riding Culture. Let me know, what do you think? So what do I wear? Well, personally, I prefer a fully lined or single layer pair of jeans to part lined, as then I'm not worried about what is and isn't covered. I've put a lot of miles in the hoods and I've worn the Paranoid X's a lot, but in the recent really hot weather, I've been wearing the Roadskin Taranis Elites most of the time. I knew it was going to be hot when we went on the bike to Spain at the end of June, so I also bought my wife a pair of them. In 44 degree temperatures we got on great, though I would say that she didn't like the Rion upgrade, as the knees were a tighter fit for her than me and the armour cut in. I've swapped back to the standard smoothways for her. In this test, only 3 of the pairs of jeans were available in women's sizes, the Bullets, Furygans and Roadskin Taranis Elites, though Hood does offer its K7s in women's sizes. Still got questions? Bike Club is a free motorcycle community with places to go, great advice and experts from around the world to help you get more from motorcycling. It's where you can have a proper chat with me about this test or anything else. If you're interested in how riding kit standards work, I just wanted to add that EN 17092 sets a series of minimum requirements for abrasion resistance and seam strength and tear resistance, not to mention fit, chemical innocuousness and more. It's weeded out some real rubbish from the market and helps you and I make some kind of judgment on the protective performance of what we buy. More brands are seeing the marketing potential of offering higher rated kit, and it's not costing more money in most cases. But it's not perfect. The results of this lab testing show there can be a big difference between products, making it very hard for buyers to make comparisons. I do think some brands would want high levels to be made available. Pando Moto claiming AAA Plus as an example, and we've seen products here that have really stood out. Not to mention what decent leather kit can really achieve. But unless we have a standard in place, any brand can claim what they like, ending up in a wild west of protective performance, not that different to what we had before EN 1792 came into force in 2018. Standards are developed in a large part by representatives of manufacturers, which might or might not be a good thing, but there are a handful of independents, including me, having joined the British Standards Institution as a committee member a few months ago. As part of that, I want to help represent consumers, so get involved and tell me what matters to you when choosing what to buy. Swaying like a fat bloke trying to get into too tight jeans.